Coucou les coucous! De retour à un nouvel épisode de Dark Deity. Ah, j'étais aussi grosse que ça. Alright, let's go with the bonds! C'est vrai, j'ai 2 elfes. Iris plus Elias. Elias, hey, thanks for what you said back there after our run-in with the elementals.
Sure thing.
Just thought I could offer some perspective.
If you say so.
You've definitely done that. Even meeting another adept is a new perspective for me. Is a new perspective. One from no less. It's a miracle either of us made it out. Miracle, as I understand them, generally involve divine intervention. Believe me, I would have taken any help I could get, but I don't recall receiving any. I ran for the border as fast as these legs would take me.
That sounds right.
Fair point. I guess I was lucky enough to have some support from my parents. They received the news well, then, I take it?
I don't know.
Would have been hard for them to do anything else after all I'd been through by then.
I'm with you.
Understand? How were you when you knew? 16? I was training in an open field with my tutor too. When it happened, I kept making the same mistake and I started getting frustrated. Then I remember flashes, thunder, and waking up on the ground. My parent agreed to help me hide it at first, but eventually it just became too dangerous. Without using my abilities, I never learned to control them. I know what you mean. Yeah, so eventually they gave me what they could and set me on my way. What about you? When did you know you were, an adept? I was 15, preparing supper for my family like any other evening. The day had been full of hopeful anticipation, then practically before it finished opening the oven, the whole kitchen was in flames.
I'm not sure.
That sounds incredibly scary. I don't think I would have known what to make of that. I was terrified, almost too terrified to help douse the fire. And definitely too terrified to come up with a reasonable excuse. I was not so fortunate as you to have empathetic parents. The most mercy they could muster was allow me a day's head start over the authorities. I'm sorry, Elias. Please don't apologize. All you've done is given me hope. Perhaps being an adept in Knowles isn't an automatic death sentence after all. There may be other like us out there, wandering at land. Mais sur quel continent, là? Atlante, c'est l'autre qu'on a commencé.
I trust you.
I would never guess that before I met you, I guess I shared that hope. I'm sure we'll put it to good use. Une petite seconde. Dark Deity World Map. Click, 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 click. Alright, is this... Nolesian. Alright, back. Ok, c'est le continent of Etlan. On est originaire de. En bas à gauche, il y a Aramor. À gauche, il y a Delios qu'on commence. En haut, il y a le Caramount Republic. Et les Void Mountain encore plus en haut. Puis au sud-est, il y a le Nolasian Empire. Come back here. Click, 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 click. Alright, next up, Ford. Alright, Monroe. Spill, what's the reason you booked passage to Varroa? Told you, Ford, a quiet vacation. I'm sure that's a foreign concept to you. But asking me about it repeatedly isn't going to help. Come on, we both know that's a cover story. What makes you so sure? Because I invented the cover story.
Fool.
I'm highly skeptical of that. I'll tell you how it happened.
Pointless.
I'd rather you didn't. The dark and stormy night. How original. You're right, that's quite common in my line of work, but this time I wasn't at sea. I'd stop in a little port and study Aramor, as I like to do in those days. It was a good place to resupply, and let's just say I had enough old friends to visit to last me a couple of nights, but I couldn't tell them that was the reason I stopped in, of course. So I said I was there to visit my sister. Only problem was, it's not the biggest port. I ran into each of them on their off night. And so you told each one the other was your sister?
I do my best.
Righto, my friend. You've been there
Was
too?
that all?
No, this was entirely too predictable. Ah, well, a man has his ways. You have your ways forward, I have my own, and I don't imagine your ways served you so well when your two friends got to talking. Yeah, I try not to stop in that port anymore. Your poor sister, she must wonder what become of you all this time.
Calm down.
Ha! I don't even have one! Kinda expected that one. Wow, wow, wee! Sophia, can you please chat with your face somewhere else? I'm trying to concentrate. Oh, on what? A spell?
Ugh.
As it so happened. What to
Naturally.
do? Turns all ferret and 12-foot radius into ash and dust.
Huh?
You're joking, right? Willing to take that chance? Butter is pas d'accord. Come on, Butter, let's get out of here. And Sophia, for what it's worth, I don't think he appreciates being launched into the air.
Oh, Butter.
Of course he does. Look, he's smiling ear to ear. Wow, vous êtes pognés sur la même expression tous les deux.
Absurd.
He's clearly baring his teeth, but I wouldn't take that as a good sign. Besides, he's a ferret, not a flying squirrel. They're squirrels that can fly? Well, I suppose they more jump, really. Weird, they should have called them jumping squirrels. If I ever meet the one who named them, I'll let them know. Sounds good. That went nowhere fast. It was good to see you on the boat. Familiar faces are few and far between right now.
Explain.
What in the world are you doing with these people? You heard that my father disowned me and I drop off the map, I presume? Of course. Where were you? Captured by bandits, funnily enough. Irving and the other rescued us. Ah, Sophia is the dearest friend I've ever had. Though I'd appreciate you not telling her that. Her family took me in after my exile, fed me, clothed me. T'allais sortir avec une robe pas pire? In peasant guard, I'm sure. I'd love to see what that looked like. Sure you would, you fiend. Either way, we stuck with them. I have no place in Sojourn, and there are other reasons to stick around. What happened in the Waste? Last I heard, your traveling companion went out both the Aramoran and the Lion armies and killed the commander.
Gods.
Keep your voice down. Sterling's little brother is on board. He had to watch him die, and now he has to cure the guild that a whole kingdom think he was the one to kill him. That's awful. When have I heard Sterling was a good man? Yes, and so is his brother, Munro. I know you have no real purpose in Verura, so I won't pry. Think you should join us. I can't explain why unless you promise to stay with the group.
Naturally.
Alright, Valmarin. Known you for a long time and never known you to care for anything at all. You have my curiosity. Irving, how are you feeling? It wouldn't be right to complain, but you want to. Let's just say I can still remember a time in my life when my whole body wasn't sore, though only very distantly now. I think I know just the spell for that.
Don't worry.
Please, Marin, don't bother. I just need to rest. Stubborn as always. How did it go, your talk with your father? As well as can be expected. I'm sure he was devastated by the news. I have a feeling Vesta may have softened the blow a bit, but yes, I have no doubt that he was. How did he react? He was strong, as I'm sure he was always trained to be. A man in his position is never far from loss. Still, I'm sure this was uniquely painful. With Sterling, he lost more than a son. I think he... Sorry, Irving, I wasn't trying to bring all of that back up again.
Sterling.
No, that's alright. I need to say this. My father felt he lost a piece of himself too. When my brother died, at least, he felt that way. I think anyone whose life even remotely intersect with his would say the same. I know I would. He always considered you a trusted friend. And I was always honored by that, just as I was honored to be at his side in the end.
Still.
I know you did everything you could, Marin. I hope you don't blame yourself. It's nice. Don't worry, I don't. That's one of the first lessons you learn as a healer. The easy way or the hard way. And then perhaps that is a lesson you can teach the rest of us. If I can, I will. Hey, barmaid girl. Who do you think you are? The name is Sia.
Relax.
I know, seemed like an easier way to get your attention quickly. At work, what do you want? Been wanting to ask you about Duskwater. Ça me paraît que Carrette ait réussi à get under the skin de Sia. I don't think I've ever mentioned Duskwater. Yeah, ask Bianca.
Aren't you clever?
Of course you did. What do you want to know?
Well,
Honestly, anything you're willing to tell me. I grew up with nothing at all. I was an orphan, and where the coins Flip different, I may have starved in the desert. Jeez, that's awful. Yeah, but that isn't the point. I was sold this idea that our Morons and the Lions are so different. That was what got me into fighting. Starting to see that there really isn't much difference between us. Black Abyss, I mean, our two towns would be in the same kingdom if you just moved them both up 100 miles. Yes, that's true, I don't know. I never thought much about Aramor. I was surprisingly busy with helping my parents run the inn. Ah, c'est tes parents qui s'occupaient de l'inn. What was it called? The Doddering Bandits. Sort of dumb, but it stuck. Check one for similarity. Inn names are ridiculous in Aramor too. Although I think it's like that everywhere. How could it not be? No one wants to stay at some dreary place. Inns should be lively. Fair point. Let's see what we've been asked about. I know this may seem strange to you, but I generally never learn anything positive about the Lions. Hate to say it, but it sounds like you barely learned much either way if what you were told was intended to spur you to violence. Fair point again. Sorry to start this conversation this way. I've just been set in my ways a pretty long time now. It's in my nature to love, not to fight. I don't know how I got all caught up. T'as un problème de nature et de demeanor. Something you see, serving a town that knows its share of mercenaries fighting is an easy thing to get into. Easiest thing in the world, really. Getting out, that's hard. See? You managed to stuff a lot of wisdom in a little barmaid. Yeah, I've seen more heartbreak and ruin than I'd care to think about. Even now you've jumped from fighting to fighting. At least now there's a cause. You think that now everyone fighting does. We don't know whether there really was until it's too late. Phew, you don't mess around. Catch your breath, you're not ready to learn how to fight to the brink of exhaustion. We need to master the fundamentals first. You fight with your mind, that is good, but we need to master your instinct first. I like to be in control of my actions, thanks. Then you'll like to be dead. Sometimes the blade must be faster than the mind. Instinct is an incredibly powerful ally, but it is also dangerous. Now so, hard to describe. Just take this at face value. You will be a better fighter if you learn to separate your instinct and your thoughts. Control of both is essential. That's confusing, but I trust you. Good. Sounds like we may be getting somewhere after all. So when you come at me from the left like that, it makes sense for me to twist and dodge back. That is correct. But in the moment when we were sparring, my first instinct was to lean in, pass the blow and strike. Dangerous maneuver, but one that would have won you the fight and left you unarmed. See what you're saying with the danger. How do you learn to make these decisions so quickly? There is a fine line between self-preservation and losing your edge. Fighting is about being dynamic. Yeah, that's all well and good. How do you learn to make these decisions so quickly?
I don't know.
I don't have an answer. I'm hoping if we drill it into you and you gain enough experience, it'll come. This is how it happened to me. For me. Seems like a risky proposition to me. Little value can be found in place devoid of risk. When did you become the wordy philosopher? When you're the only one around to hear me. Hey, that's almost like sounds like you consider us friends. ... Benji! Aw man, I'm sick of all this waiting around. You think to get back in the fight? You know I am.
It'll be alright.
Maybe you can use this as an opportunity to train your patience. Patience? What good is that gonna do? In the heat of the battle, you gotta strike fast and strike hard. Sometimes, but being patient can also help you find the best opportunity to strike. Yeah, or make you miss that opportunity. Sure stubborn sometimes, Benji. I did grow up around bulls, don't forget. That explains a lot. What makes you like patience so much anyway? You grew up watching flowers grow?
I don't know.
My grandfather did keep a garden, but no, I don't think that's it. Maybe it was just my time at the academy. I spent all those years working toward passing the trials. I was lucky to get my time in the sun, so many never had the chance. Sure, some of them were excited to skip the test and jump right into the good stuff. I know I would have been. For their sake, I hope you're right, and I hope they found what they were looking for too, instead of meeting their end with that sorcerer. Look, whatever that was, it wasn't playing fair. With determination like ours, we'll put a stop to that in no time. That's exactly right, Benji. We will. I always wanted to climb a mountain.
What do you know?
Now look at you. You're absolutely tearing through your bucket's list. Smart.
All right.
You bet. Life's too short to waste time. Even shorter for some. Exactly. Escarnus was a pretty good climb too. Now that I think about it. It was, and the view was well worth it.
Nothing less than the best.
Views are temporary. Gains are forever. Assuming you can retain them, of course. Benji, best in class. The legendary warrior abundant in both physical strength and proverbial wisdom.
Benji!
Benji, best in class. Junior! Ah, so you take your father's name. Proudly, too. That must get terribly confusing.
No way!
Not really. When he says Benji, I know he's referring to me. What about when you say it? Well...
You're really something.
Don't think about that too hard, Benji. Life is short, remember? That's right. Garrick, I'm still a bit worried about Irving. You've spoken to him recently, haven't you? Must have made a note once to never let him go a day without my pestering, so yes, we've spoken. Well, I can't imagine what he's going through is easy. I think I'm a lot less concerned than you are. That doesn't mean you're right to be. Oof, as cutting as words are, they probably are true. That's what gives them their sting. Well, regardless, given the circumstances, he seems to be doing alright. That's good to hear. I just wish there was something we could do for him. There always is. I think we're doing it, to the best of our admittedly deficient abilities. I know, but it's just so hard to know what to do. On the one hand, I don't want to bother him or remind him about his loss too much, but I also don't want him to think I don't care. The difference between you and me is that I don't mind annoying him. I'm quite certain I've been doing that all my life. Ouais, je remarque le jeu, dans les discussions, je veux dire, souvent peut-être une exagération, mais parfois, la voix de la personne qui parle, c'est la voix de l'interlocuteur à la place.
You're really something.
Case in point. You can add me to that list of certain people too. Glad to have your vote of confidence. Can you try to be serious for a moment?
Come on.
Are you sure you want that? I don't know what you've ever seen. I don't know that you've ever seen what that looks like. Garrick. Fine, look. I think it's better to err on the side of too much attention. If he needs space, he can tell us. Besides, he bears the loss of his brother, while at most we bear the loss of a friend.
Right.
That's got to feel lonely enough without us adding to it. You know, Garrick, I think you actually gave us some sound advice there. Yeah, well, don't get used to it. Think I just might like serious Garrick. Sounds like what you really like is setting yourself up for disappointment. J'oublie tout le temps à quel point Lincoln est un géant par rapport aux autres. I hope you don't hold Swift Harbor against me.
No.
No, that was Irving's decision, not yours. If it was the right one, we know that now.
Disgraceful.
Never in my life would I have guessed I'd raise a sword against the Lion troops. Their thirsts were also full of disbelief. You think that was easy for us? The people of Armor have always trusted in our protection. No, I don't imagine it was easy at all. Then we understand one another. I certainly understand the threat these aspects pose, especially in the hands of this sorcerer, whoever he may be. In that case, I hope you believe me when I say the danger is greater than all the armies of the Lion Armor mustered against us.
Troubling.
I do hope you're wrong about that, Thera, but I fear you might be right.
We need you in this fight.
The sooner you stop fearing it and start believing it, the better. What won you the heart of your people, anyway? Is your king cut from the same tyrannical cloth as ours? Not quite. King Cyrus is an honorable man, an excellent general. But not every problem can be solved with an army. While you and your sister prefer to a more diplomatic approach,
It's simply politics.
when possible, do you not? In my line of work, such decisions were left to those above my rank. And if they weren't, I know the cost of war too well to turn it as anything other than a last resort. If only rulers of this land shared your sentiment. You make a fine point, Sarah, if you don't mind me saying
I'd be
so.
honored.
Our mother prepared us for the possibility often enough. Do you expect it will come to pass? I don't know. I'm not even sure I'd want it. Whether I want it or not, Samara and I have a duty to be ready for it, for our people's sake.
With honor.
Those are words of a worthy leader. Thank you, Lincoln. I think that's enough talk for the future for today. Should return to the task at hand. You really traveled all that way just to face Oroma's trial?
That's right.
Did. That's quite a distance. You are like him, no?
Perhaps.
An adept? Yes, but I wouldn't be so proud to say that the similarities extend far beyond that. He is a much greater fighter. Not long ago, I had only seen adept at a distance. Now I fight alongside 2. 3. More than 2. Bianca, for instance. Oh, I did not know.
I'm with you.
I didn't either until we all began to share our stories. Were they similar? Some way, though not in others. Adepts are regarded differently in each of our homelands. Tell me, how are they treated in Naja? With reverence. Interesting. Oroma said something similar about Aramor. But in Naja, they are not fighters, they are artists. The most famous actors in Haufen's theater are almost exclusively adept. That's so. Sounds dangerous.
See it now?
Precautions are taken to keep audiences safe. Their innate ability do much to express the emotion of their character. I would imagine. I think that's something I'd like to see someday. And perhaps you will. Hey Elena, what you doing over there by yourself? Over here by yourself? Praying? Oh, don't people usually go somewhere holy to do that? Terrazil itself can be just as sacred as any temple when properly appreciated. Ah, that makes sense, but wait a minute. If the whole world is sacred, what's the point of temples? You may find it difficult to buy candle, incense, and prayer bead from a tree. So they're basically just big glorified shops? No, Sophia. Temples are built on hallowed ground. They are a place of spiritual significance. Got it. So all of Terra is holy, but some parts of it are extra holy. And when you can't get the extra holy part, nature will do.
That's right.
Sufficiently summarized. Neat! I love learning about this stuff. I've always been a spiritual person. I think without realizing it. I think I've always just kind of happened in my life, and it always worked out for the better. Even the bad stuff, like getting caught by those bandits. That led me and flow into you guys. There gotta be a reason for that.
There.
You are fortunate to feel this way about your life. There are many people of great faith who do not feel the same.
Huh?
Oh, that's surprising. But gratitude is a worthy cause for prayer. Offer it to the gods when you feel it wash over you. Thanks, I'll keep that in mind. Ouais, ça risque d'être un épisode de juste de blabla. Hey, Sophia, you really could work on your timing. What? Is it about what I said on the boat? I wish it were only about that. All I'm saying is everywhere we go, people think we've showed up just in time to solve their problems. For free, too. How does that work? It's like we've got a big sign around our neck that says free help. In fairness, I would like to think we look somewhat formidable. Shouldn't that scare people? Wrong people. Doesn't seem to work that way. Maybe I'm just too cute. I wouldn't be too sure. Perhaps it's the ferret. Have you thought about ditching it? Saw a nice patch of wood not too far. Sloan, you're terrible. You didn't hear that, did you, Butter? No, you don't speak mean. You're so predictable, it hurts. At least I'm consistent and nice to harmless little animals. It's one way of looking at it, and I'm not sure any of your enemies would call Butter harmless. Après tout, il augmente ton DPS de 25%. 20%, 25%? Beaucoup. Well then, you better not become one.
That's cute.
Shaking in my boots. You're not wearing boots! That's what I thought.
No.
No, Sophia, technically, I'm not. How do you get around those things anyway? Very carefully. Gracefully, too, I hope. Yeah, keep hoping. Dark Deity. Sloan. Well, she is wearing boots. Je veux dire, everyone was wearing boots. Ah, t'as trouvé, non, je regarde le mauvais skin ici. Non, non, c'est juste une paire de... Je sais pas c'est quoi le skin que je regardais, là, mais non, elle a une paire de... Heels de 3 pouces, ben normal, ça reste des tout, là, mais bon, 3-4 pouces. On clique là, on clique là, on clique là. Wrong one. Honey, I've been waiting for an apology, and yet here we stand, no one apologizing. Strange. Very cute, Sloan. I don't mind you being rude or even comparing me to people I've never met that I'm sure you have a low opinion of. I do mind waltzing around thinking you know me, though. You don't.
Fine.
Prove it then. Prove I don't know you. How'd you suggest I go about doing that? Give up on trying to get all your money and power back? You don't need it to be happy.
That's cute.
Brooke, do you realize how silly that sounds coming from someone who kills people to acquire money and power? You realize that, actually. That's the fun thing about this. I don't need to not be a hypocrite to be right. You're simply impossible. You wouldn't understand what it's like to have everything all your life and then have to take it away.
No.
Nope, I wouldn't. What I do understand is that I've seen countless Hares and Harrises dedicated their life just to getting back to where they were as a kid. Sickening to watch. I think you can do better. You can be better than that. Also, now you're my biggest supporter. Pick a side, woman. How long is it going to take for you to understand that there are no sides? I don't need this, but you might. Excuse me if I don't believe that your motives are so pristine. You are excused. Oh, on a réussi à rentrer tout le monde. 27 minutes. Units. Toi, je t'ai laissé en drifter. Ok. Upgrade. What? Shop, toi, tu recevais un bonus bien normal. Toi, t'es... Ah, c'est vrai, toi aussi, t'es un autre. On est 5 adeptes. Units, Iris, qu'est-ce que t'as? You are a crit. Toi, t'es un strong first hit. On a réussi à avoir un peu de misère. Shop. J'avais dit que c'était un crit. Là déjà. Puis Monroe. Unit. Bonus d'HP. Straight up HP. Add 15% de HP. Fait que là, tu veux de l'HP puis ça augmente ton damage. On va aller balance avec toi aussi. Alright, on va appeler ça un épisode ici. On va continuer simplement la prochaine fois. Je vais continuer d'upgrader en vous. Alors, je vais dire au revoir et à bientôt.